Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Godzilla Kong versus Kong was awesome. Yeah, I'm glad finally got to see this movie, guys. I'm very happy to be back on YouTube. Hello, everybody. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and I just saw Godzilla versus Kong at home on HBO Max for free. I didn't have to pay $30 like Disney Plus, so it's freaking awesome. There were problems, but I'll get to that in the second part when I talk about them. Film is a great thing. I'm not gonna spoil too much because I know some people haven't seen it yet because either they don't have HBO Max or they can't go to the theater right now. But for those of you who have seen it, how freaking badass was that, huh? We had three major fights with the monsters in the second half. I will say the second half of this movie is better than the first half because the first 30 minutes are the biggest problem I have with the film. Compared, just like in the Snyder cut, it's a little bit slow. It's mostly set up and a lot of talking. But hear me out. The film was worth seeing at home. It's really short. It's like about an hour and 45 minutes without the end credits. It's really quick. It's shorter than Pacific Rim, and it's way better than that sequel that came out a few years ago. I will say, with ranking, this is right up there with Kong Skull Island. I still think it's a little bit lower than King of the Monsters because it's a step from that, but the cast is still, a major problem with me in both this and King of the Monsters. Kong Skull Island had the better cast: Samuel Jackson, Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, John C. Riley, and John Goodman, etc. Much better cast. Here, yeah, you have a mixed bag, but the plot, yeah, basically Godzilla and Kong. Kong is in a facility. He's in a containment field. I'm not going to say too much, so not to spoil it. And he wants to just be home, where in the trees and on his island where he belongs. And Godzilla's pretty much wrecking things like he always does. And but there's a reason for it. And then the humans have to find out what's going on between the two monsters, and then the whole movie just erupts with action, with monsters everywhere. There's a lot of monsters in this movie. I'm not going to spoil what's in it. Uh, but the monster action, if you want the real monster action, you got to wait till at least the 30-minute mark, because the first like 30 minutes is just you see Kong, and the little girl's adorable. I think she's very cute. That has the doll and speaks in sign language because she's deaf. Not annoying because you can't hear what she's saying. She's just doing the hand signals, and she cries a lot, which is good. She can show emotion. And also, uh, I did like. I thought whatchamacallit, Alexander Skarsgard was okay. He did what he could. He's not a very memorable character, but he does some things. He has some moments. And the black guy, the Brian Henry from he was in Into the Spider Verse. Josh, he was Jefferson Davis, Miles's dad. His voice, he did better there because there he had a better script and he wasn't just a comic relief. Here he's basically the podcast guy that's a comic relief that goes around running around messing the plans of Apex. Uh, the action is freaking awesome. I love the score. I love the effects. The effects are top notch, just like in the last couple films. Kong and Godzilla are amazing in the movie. Their fight is not disappointing when they first get it on. If you've seen the trailer, it is badass. I do like the next villain that they put in the movie at the end. That fight at the end is badass. I love it. I like the spaceships that they have. They have these mini vehicles, like hover vehicles that go into travel at like 600 miles per hour, which is pretty awesome. I love the look of the film. Adam Wingard did a good job shooting the film. I can see it. Most of the monster action is in the daytime, so you can see it. There's one fight at night and in Hong Kong, but you saw that in the trailer. But you can see it. It's better than the fight in the first Pacific Rim in Hong Kong or whatever. They don't shake the camera, which is great because I want to see the action. It's got a lot of color. Godzilla's breath is everywhere in this movie. I still prefer the score from King of the Monsters, but that was just me because I'm more of a Godzilla fan. But Kong kicked a lot of ass in this movie. It was freaking awesome to see him just go to town on this on Godzilla, and also at the very end and other monsters that he fights. It's awesome. There's two decapitations and several of the human cast die, and that was a good thing for me because trust me, half of this cast I could not care. I could not care less about. I still don't like Millie Bobby Brown from the last movie. That's all I'm gonna say. The kid from Deadpool 2, he does one thing in the movie, but then he just talks. That's it. Uh, Kyle Chandler barely has anything to do in this movie. In the last movie, he was okay, but not very memorable. Here, he's just there. There is a mention of Sarazawa, even though he died in the last one. In this one, he has a son. So he's the Japanese guy you see in this movie. Rebecca Hall, you still can't act. You sucked in Iron Man 3. You sucked in The Prestige. You suck dick. You can't act. Please retire. You can't act. The whole movie, she's like this. I swear, she's an alien. Her acting is about as great, convincing as Rosamund Pike in Doom. It's awful, 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 awful. Josh, if you have a problem with Rebecca Ferguson in Dune, that's going to be Oscar worthy compared to this performance. The whole movie, Rebecca Hall's like this, like she's in a trance or something. Um, who else is in the movie? O'Shea Jackson doesn't come back. Zhang Zi was cut from the movie because reasons. Uh, the lady that was in Black Panther was also cut from the film because they probably filmed like 2.5 hours, but had to cut it because of COVID. Who else is in? Isaac Gonzalez is wasted again. Josh, I'm sorry, but Bloodshot she was wasted, and here she's wasted, and she doesn't show any of her skin. She's the daughter of one of the main villains in the movie, the human villains, Damian Beecher, who's awful. He is not a good villain. If you thought Pedro Pascal sucked in Wonder Woman, he at least had a personality compared to this guy. This guy can't even speak English right. He says species. It's species, not species or specials. It's species. This is why you should not cast foreign actors in American monster movies. Just out of curiosity. I'm sorry, guys. And it wasn't just the accents that bothered me. It's just that some of these human characters are forgettable. They were underwritten and were not needed. And when some of them died, I was very happy. It's like Vera Farmiga in the last one. I see these movies for the monster action, for the freaking badass effects and the great, fight scenes and the freaking destruction of the buildings and all that. That's what I see when I want to see a monster movie. I don't want to see the human characters be boring. Unless you have really likable characters like in the original Godzilla and the original Kong and Kong Skull Island and freaking even Elizabeth Olsen had more acting chops than this freaking than half of this cast. Just it's just a bunch of foreign like diversity hires. That's all the reasons why they're here. And I'm not racist, guys. I did like the black guy. I thought he had a moment. He had a few moments that he made me laugh twice, and he was active. He wasn't just there. Uh, like I said, the score is meh. I don't really care about. I mean, not the score, the musical choices, the soundtrack. It tried to sound like Guardians, and I'm like, it didn't work because that was MCU. This is not. This is Warner Brothers, and it's not DC either. So, but the monsters did not disappoint. They're the reason to see the film. If you can skip the freaking human talk and blah blah blah, we want to get this element, blah blah blah. We want the company to take over, blah blah blah. We want to give humanity a fight, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. We've seen it in the other films. You don't have to tell us. There's no post credit scene either, so don't wait till the very end. There's nothing. It's just the Warner Brothers logo if you see it on HBO Max or if you see it in the theater. Lucky you people that saw it last week. But the movie was freaking awesome. It's in my top 10 of the year so far. At number 10, though, not my top 5, because I still haven't seen Raya. Black Widow hasn't come out. Mortal Kombat hasn't come out yet. We still have Spider Man and a bunch of other films in the second half of the year. But did this disappoint me? No, it did not. And some people are going to think it's too slow, but you weren't going to get the fight in the first 5 minutes. BVS didn't have the fight until like about an hour and a half in both cuts of that. So it is kind of like that, but it's not as slowly paced. Just the first 30 minutes could have been trimmed, just like the Snyder Cut. But anyway, was the movie worth my time? Hell yeah, it was. The last 15 minutes, I was clapping and cheering, and I was like, hell yeah, this is what I waited a year for. And it was not a disappointment. The fight scenes and the monster action is worth it. That's what you see these movies for. It's like Freddy versus Jason. Nobody cared about the plot or most of the teenagers. You want to see them get hacked to pieces and Freddy and Jason fighting each other. Alien versus Predator, same thing. Movie sucked, but the fight with the alien and the Predator had its moments in both films. The original King Kong versus Godzilla. Some of the human characters were okay, some were just forgettable. Here it's the same thing. In a versus movie, you're not going to have the strongest cast of characters unless they have personality. But like I said, at least some of them were trying. I couldn't say the same thing about Rebecca Hall. She's that stone faced zombie in everything she's in. Yes, even in Frost Nixon, she sucked dick because she can't act, guys. Rebecca Ferguson can act circles around her. Even in her worst performance, it's better than freaking Rebecca Hall's entire filmography. And I am not taking that back. She's probably the worst thing in the movie. Yeah, the worst actor in the movie. Because at least I don't like Millie Bobby Brown, but she's just there in a couple scenes, just like in the last one. Her American accent's not good either, but hey, that's just me. I don't see Stranger Things. I don't like teeny boppers. I like women that I can whack it to. I don't care for like I said, the pacing was a lot better than other movies. You don't have to wait an hour to see Godzilla like in the 2014 movie. But like I said, there's sort of been scenes cut out. Anything that doesn't have visuals cues or like a beautiful surroundings or Kong running around beating the shit out of a monster or ripping someone's head off or climbing the buildings, yeah, then I'm not interested because like I said, when I get this movie on Blu-ray, I'm going to skip some of the boring stuff and just get right to the nitty-gritty. That's the second half is worth the price of admission or subscribing to HBO Max because you won't be disappointed with that. But people video bombing, go screw yourselves. You don't know what you're talking about. This movie, it's not the Snyderverse. This is something different that's been building up for 7 years, and it worked. And if I see more of this, if this makes $1 billion or $500 million, do a Godzilla versus Kong versus Gamera. I'm all for it. Bring it on. After this, I can take anything. This is better than the last two Jurassic World films, easily, without question. Those characters were just stupid. Here, at least some of the characters are running away, so they're not just standing there you're looking at it, except for Rebecca Hall. She's freaking awful. Just don't tell me that you have a boner for her, Josh. She's not. She's unforgivably shitty in these movies. She can't act. She's just a terrible lead. One of the worst leads. The only thing she can do well is sign language, which she should have done for the whole movie. They should have made her a mute. Because the little girl is acting circles around her and she can't even talk. Yet she can act better with her face than Rebecca Hall's. Duh. Yeah, she's awful. Just don't even see it for her because she sucks in everything. Iron Man 3 is the reason Guy Pearce killed her off. She would have not worked as a villain anyway. But Godzilla vs. Kong was freaking awesome. See it if you can. Stream it. Watch it in the theater or stream it online somewhere else to save money. I don't blame you. It's a freaking awesome movie, though. Number 10 is good where it belongs because I had a problem with the cast, just like I'll have a problem with the cast when I see Black Widow. I'm sorry, guys. I'm seeing that movie for Scarlett Johansson, and that's it. And the action, pretty much. Maybe David Harbour will surprise me, but no way Pugface is going to surprise me or Rachel Weisz because you know why. And I didn't say it this time, so. But anyway, the king, he's still the king, and he still kicks ass. And both monsters did not let me down. Thanks to Adam Wingard for respecting this franchise and for giving us something worth the long wait. Some waits are not worth it. Some sequels we get are just not worth the wait, like the Lego sequel, or freaking Terminator Genesis or Terminator Dark Fate. No, we got the money shot at the second half. That saves the movie from being to like really freaking awesome because the human talking is just it's old, guys. It's been in so many monster movies and sci-fi movies and action films and superhero movies. We got it. Okay, WandaVision had better pacing, and Elizabeth Olsen in the first movie beats Rebecca Hall in anything. That enough said. Go see Godzilla vs. Kong. Badass, number 10 on my top 10 of 2021 so far. Thank you for watching. See you in April. Peace.